Hi, this is Timothy Zahn, author of Thrawn, and you're listening to Star Wars Reactions. Good for you.
There's been an awakening. Have you felt it?
In 1977, George Lucas formed a legacy.
The Force is with me, and I am with the Force.
Inspired by mythology, his saga has become a passion for many.
Feel the Force around you.
His legend has become our story.
It's true. All
one of resistance.
we are the spark that'll light the fire that'll burn the First Order down.
Rebellion.
Rebellion is built on hope.
And redemption.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
This is Star Wars Reactions.
Remember, the Force will be with you. Always.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Star Wars Reactions. We are back rolling through March Reactions Madness. We are here to discuss a new episode of The Bad Batch, and we aren't going to waste any time. We're going to get the party started. My name is Aaron Harris, and back from his luxury cruise, here to have some fun. Not as much fun as he had on his cruise, though. Please welcome my friend and yours, the David Motters. David, brother, welcome home.
Well, thanks, buddy. It's good to be home after a much-needed break. After, as you know, and our listeners, all the stuff that's been going on over the last several months. I'm excited to be back. Really excited to talk Star Wars with you, and I'm ready to react. And we've got a really good episode to talk about here of The Bad Batch.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great episode to talk about. I really, really am enjoying these episodes and the direction they're going in. It's been a lot of fun. So we're discussing Tipping Point. This was released March 22nd of 2023, directed by Saul Ruiz, written by the fabulous Jennifer Corbett and Matt Michnovitz.
Mm-hmm.
This episode opens up with a sneak attack by Echo, Gregor, and Fireball on the Imperial starship, leaving Balmora with clones, including Hauser from last season, heading on its way to Mount Tannis. Back at Tannis, we see Dr. Hemlock trying to get Crosshair to reveal where Clone Force 99 may be hiding. He wants Omega, but Crosshair refuses to help. Crosshair does escape just long enough to send a message to the Bad Batch. This message was Plan 88. Back on Pabu, Omega, Wrecker, Hunter, and Tech are settling into a less stressful life, except for Tech, who is taking Omega for flying lessons. Echo comes to visit the Bad Batch, and Omega was quite excited to see her old friend and informs them of the imprisonment of clones around the galaxy. Echo asks Tech for help decrypting the info he got from the Imperial ship from the beginning of the episode. Tech not only informs the team about Dr. Royce Hemlock, but also about Crosshair's Plan 88 message and that Crosshair is imprisoned. The Bad Batch doesn't know if it's legit or a trap. Dun, dun, dun. Cliffhanger.
That's right.
So that was our synopsis. Let's jump into this. David, well, it's your first episode back since your cruise. Let's kick it off with you, my friend. Tell me your initial reactions when you watched this episode for the first time.
Well, look, this is not for the faint of heart. This, listen, I remember, and I thought about it while I was watching this episode. I remember you and I covering an episode of Rebels where Hera is captured and drugged. I remembered it, by Governor Arinda Price. That's it. It was upsetting to see in Rebels, and it was upsetting to see here with Crosshair and being drugged and tortured. Even the amount of the drugging increase by the end of the episode. I do think it's the writers wanting to develop a baddie that will will love to hate. And while it's working, I do hate Dr. Hemlock. It's there. He is deliciously evil, though. And also, not only are they doing that, but it's really clear in this episode. In previous episodes, they're really setting up a battle between the clones and the conscripted troopers. So, I do think this episode, Aaron, was very appropriately titled "Tipping Point" because it's tipping the clones towards that battle with those new stormtroopers. And for me, my thought is, let's get the 2-part finale going now.
I know. I cannot believe we are already a week away from the finale of season 2. But man, this episode is where it was at. This was awesome. It was great to see this, see all the clones starting to return, to see Hauser, who I loved in the last season. Gregor, oh my gosh, Gregor. I knew we were going to see this dude before the end of the show. Before the Bad Batch ended, I knew we were going to see this guy. I am so glad we got to see him in here. Just so much fun. A lot of intensity, like you mentioned. You went back to the torture of Hera. I went to the torture of Jaeger in Resistance.
Oh yeah,
which was pretty intense too. They were torturing Jaeger and I just blanked on her name. The girl that became the TIE fighter pilot.
Oh gosh, why do you do this to me? I can
see your face. I just cannot.
I can even see the actress's face who voiced that character.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about. I know we're being yelled at right now too. It'll come to me. Since for 2 seasons.
I know. So maybe that's what the scene I went back to. But this was fun really wasn't fun. It was an intense episode. It like I said with the previous episodes, I believe when he was first arrested and after killing the officer, I told you I believe that was the turning point for Crosshair, and we're starting to see that here because what's he do? He's warning Hunter and everybody that they're in trouble. I mean, these are all tricks he had up his sleeve. At any point, he could have pulled out any of that code and lured them into a trap and had them, but he didn't. So there was still some loyalty, even though he was working for the Empire trying to hunt them down. I mean, there was that says something about the character. And I think Crosshairs in this episode is, oh man, I just cannot wait to see how they end this season because this was such a phenomenal episode, and Hemlock is just so, I just want to reach through the screen and wring his little neck. It's quite the character. So yes,
I found it. Tamravora.
There it is, Tamravora. That's it.
I look it up. I had to do it for ourselves and our listeners. So there it is.
Susie McGrath.
Yes.
Who did the voice. Yeah. And Tam. Yes, it was Tam. Yeah. Good show. I have to go. I haven't done a rewatch of Resistance in a while. I'll have to go do that. This.
After our cover this March reactions madness that we've been going through, trying to cover all of these episodes, I gotta get a breather and then sit down and I'm with you. Enjoy some of these kind of rewatches.
Yeah, it needs to be done. Yes, needs to be. So anyway, off the squirrel and back into our talking points. Let's jump into this. let's just talk about the serious nature of this episode, because Dave Filoni and the team at Lucasfilm Animation have done in every series they've done, whether it was Clone Wars, Rebels, Resistance, or even this, making some of the most serious, edge of your seat, intense episodes that leave you emotionally scarred once they're over. There's no easy way to say it. It leaves you go through excitement, crying, anger, the whole rainbow of emotions through these episodes, especially in an episode like this. And it really changes things for you and how you watch and how you feel about the show. And it can really change the opinion of a character too. Like with Crosshair and stuff. So let's talk about that. Tell me what your thoughts on how the serious nature of this episode in particular.
Well, I do go back to, what, you brought it up, Resistance. And a lot of times we talked about how this show was really pointed towards and developed for kids. Like 7-12, I think, is what we were always hearing. But of course, in our coverage, you and I noticed some of the massive issues. Genocide, right? I remember specifically covering genocide in Resistance. A lot of people don't realize that was an issue in there. And as you were talking about Filoni and developing these different storylines, like I said, I do think about backlash I heard, particularly from females, about a woman being drugged and interrogated like Hera was. And I understand that. I get that. Now, interestingly, in this one, Aaron, and the reason why I thought it would be important for you and I to talk about the serious nature of this is because on the second runaround, when Crosshair is caught again, Hemlock says to increase the level of the dosage. And it's almost like, that interrogation droid that we first saw in 1977 heading towards Carrie Fisher. By the way, we didn't see it do anything. Here, it's almost like I'm looking at the screen. I'm like, gosh, I think they're kind of showing it right there next to Crosshair's neck. And you hear him kind of squirming and gurgling. And I thought, wow, man, this is serious. This is more than A New Hope. Right, buddy?
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is, and I don't know, when you think of Clone Wars, what do you think of? Like, I initially thought of, up to bring in young people and, 10, 12, 14-year-olds even, maybe a little bit under 14, but really Clone Wars became all ages. And the Bad Batch, this is, I would argue, some adult content,
Oh yeah, I'd have no problem arguing that, but but it's so fabulously done.
Yes.
That I wouldn't have a problem. I mean, with watching it with my kids if they were into, Star Wars, but this is one of those episodes where they really work together to get the animators work together with, of course, the voice actor to give you more, or to make you feel like they're giving you more, but they really didn't show anything more than what they did with Carrie Fisher in 77.
Well, right.
Because I mean, in the 77, it comes in, it starts closing in. As it's closing in, all of a sudden the door closes and the trooper's walking down the hallway. And here it comes up, it's getting close to his neck, it's closing in, and then all of a sudden the scene changes. So it doesn't really show anything. It gives you a very intense feeling of terror that it's happening.
Well, I would say they show Crosshair's face. They didn't show Carrie Fisher's face with a needle stuck in it.
True.
And at the very end there, I swear, like they were kind of cutting away to Amari, who's kind of second guessing. That's another talking point I have. Maybe we can, it looks like she's having second thoughts about this type of treatment, this kind of torture. And but I don't know. I was watching it on a small screen, my phone today, so I couldn't. I can watch it again at home here, but yeah, I just thought it was, for me, buddy, I thought it was more than A New Hope, but like you said, I'm in complete agreement. It is so well done, and it really is working to make us dislike Hemlock even more, and really set up this whole battle between clones and how they're being treated, and what the Empire and the new stormtroopers are about. So
yeah,
they're making us, I think, Dan Z was talking about it with Outpost, and what was that lieutenant's name? Everyone hated him real fast. Same thing with Hemlock. We're hating this guy real fast. So if that's their goal, accomplished, right?
Yep. Oh yeah, Luke, you're thinking about the former Lieutenant Nolan,
right? Lieutenant, thank you. Yeah, who got a blaster bolt?
Who's now pushing up daisies. So,
and should be, right?
Yeah,
right.
And of course, I just rewatched the scene and fast forwarded it to the scene at that point. What they show is him on the table, and it's from a distance, him on a table as the droid comes close to him, and it ducks down behind the table where you can't see it.
Okay,
before it hits his neck. So you still don't see anything. All you see from a distance, it ducked down behind the table, and then you see him start kind of writhing a little bit.
Okay. Like I said, I was watching on my phone because you and I were trying to get all this covered and written up, and so I just didn't get a good clear view. So thank you for the assist, my brother.
No problem. It's easy to follow up on with as much Star Wars as we're getting, especially with Bad Batch and Mando on the same day. It is it can be easy to get overloaded and cross stuff up. Trust me, I have done that a lot today. So, it is not fun. But your talking point led right into another talking point here, which was, and you even mentioned it, which was Emery having second thoughts about working for Hemlock. Maybe there at the end, as he's giving his speech about wanting the child and searching for Omega, and she's a clone, basically calls her a clone and a property of the Empire. And as he's saying this stuff, you can kind of see her almost kind of cringing behind it. Yes. It's one thing to, create a life. It's another thing to say you own that life. And these clones are definitely alive. So I think she's starting to maybe come to a grips that maybe things aren't what she thought they were. When it comes to it's one thing to take old soldiers and do some cloning experiments on these old soldiers who were clones already. It's another thing when you start talking about a child. So maybe a little bit of maternal side kicking in on at that point. Don't know. But it seemed to me, I'd have to agree with you. It seemed to me that she was getting a little worrisome. Because
I would just add this, brother, and I interrupted you, so please forgive me.
Fine.
In what was it, the end of the last episode of Bad Batch, she says to him, "Just cooperate, and you might survive," almost like encouraging him to do that, right? Mm-hmm. And then, if you remember, when Crosshair does escape for a short period of time in this episode, he stuns her, doesn't shoot her. She does see him shoot and kill those other ones, but she realizes he didn't kill me. And I think that is all part of it, and leads up to them putting the camera, in essence, on her face, and just ever so slightly having her do some eye movements, some head movements, kind of cluing us in that something's going to happen here. I could see her, getting Crosshair out, like releasing him, in this season finale, this 2-part finale that's coming up. I could see something like that, but it was interesting to see that. I think they've been setting that up a little bit. So anyways, I thought that was interesting. And of course, it seems like you always got to have someone on the inside that has a change of heart that helps out our heroes, So
always.
Yeah.
It always helps to have that inside person, whoever
right.
they may be.
That's right.
Oh, let's keep moving along here. Let's talk about this advanced sciences division that we find out is what Hemlock is heading up under the directive of Tarkin.
Yes.
We got the return of Tarkin, of course, voiced by the incredible Stephen Stanton. So it was awesome to see Tarkin back in this, but we learned that this advanced sciences division is who is operating, we know on Tantus, with the clones, gathering clones and doing some kind of cloning experiment. We still don't know we have an idea to what extent or what kind of experiments they're doing. We all kind of I'm not going to sit here and play stupid. Everybody has their own idea of where this is leading. Right. You'd have to be blind not to see what this is pointing to, i.e. Palpatine clone, and the Palpatine and the Rise of Skywalker, the sequels. So, but this is a real unique subdivision, I guess, a division of the Empire, their secret science division. What are your thoughts on this group? I'm gonna be honest. I'm intrigued by this clandestine group. I'm really curious to know what else these guys are doing. But what were your thoughts when we were introduced to the Advanced Science Division, and of course when Tarkin returns?
Yeah, I think I might have mentioned this previous episode. You might remember me saying it. The first thing I thought about when I saw Hemlock, this season, was I immediately thought of Joseph Mengele, who worked under Hitler and did work on twins, right? And who knows all the creepy, crazy stuff Joseph Mengele did. And that's who I immediately think about when I think of Dr. Royce Hemlock. You've got this person who, I think Tech at the end of the episode talks about how he was booted out of a legitimate Republic Sciences department for his questionable, experiments and ethics, and of course finds a home here in the Empire, and it just reeks of Nazi Germany and some of the stuff that you hear about. I don't even know everything that went on under Hitler, but that's the first thing I think about. And it was great. It was great to see Tarkin, to see him talking, Hemlock talking to him, and it got me thinking, buddy. It seems like, when Hemlock asks Tarkin, hey, send all the clones here. It feels like, whether it's a Zillo Beast, if it's clone troopers, no matter who it is, it's like, let's find, ultimately maybe a host for the Emperor, if he dies or something happens or whatever, plan B, C, or D for the Emperor. But again, deliciously evil. And I love it. The euphemism, Advanced Sciences Division. How about Advanced Torture Division? Okay, how about that? So, quite the name that is not representative of what they're truly about. But boy, very cool, clandestine. And you said, boy, I guess we're learning more about Tarkin and some of the stuff he was a part of. Man, oh man. So, what are your thoughts?
It was. I'm very intrigued by this division. I as I said a moment ago, it is. Not all of it is going to be, you have a advanced sciences division. There's probably 100 different projects going on. I'm sure that even a part of the advanced science division is working on Stardust.
Yes.
With Tarkin over, not Tarkin.
Vanek.
Director Krennic. Yeah. Orson Krennic. Working on building the Death Star. So it doesn't surprise me at all that that's happening. I would just like to know about the divisions inside the company, what kind of projects they're working on. Are some of them good? We know the bad ones, torturing clones, building the Death Star. But science, science is a lot of good too. So what other stuff are they working on there? What other scientists are there? What are we missing? What else is going on? How far does this go? There's just so much that I would like to see. I would, but you could give me a whole comic series on this and I'd be happy.
Yeah.
I would probably splurge on that comic because I would want to know what's going on within this advanced science division. And I'm trying to remember too, it's been a long time since I've read Catalyst, and I'm trying to remember back to the early Thrawn books, Thrawn and Thrawn Alliances and so forth. I'm trying to remember if that division was mentioned, the advanced science division in those books. I'm trying for the life of me to remember. I really would have to go back and reread them to find out. Because that sounds like something that would come, that would be in one of those, and be incorporated in there. Because it sounds like if it's a fresh idea, it sounds like an old idea, which makes it really good.
Right.
If you can introduce something new and make it feel like it should have been there the whole time, you've done good. So they always do good, but I'm really curious. I want to know more about this division, and I know we're going to find out more next week as we go through the series finale, season finale. Hopefully not the series finale, but the season finale, and find out what's going on. So,
yeah, agreed. Yeah,
we'll see. We mentioned the return of Tarkin, but he wasn't the only one making returns in this, and these were like heartfelt, warm the heart type introductions. Of course, we had the return of Captain Hauser from season 1, which was awesome to see him. I really liked him as a officer in the first season, clone and trooper. Then of course we had and I feel like I should know these two, and so if they've appeared before, let me know, because I feel like they should have with Fireball and Nemec.
Yeah,
I feel like they should have. I feel like I've seen them before. I don't know if it's just a deep cut back to the Clone Wars or what, but I feel like I've seen them before. So I don't know.
Well, I think maybe Fireball, when he sees, I think he call him Captain Hauser. He goes, "Hey, Captain Hauser," and Hauser knows that he's Fireball. So I didn't go back and watch last season's those episodes right back on Hera's home planet on Ryloth, and maybe that's where they're from. I don't remember Nemec, but Fireball might be associated with Hauser. It feels like it, but it was cool to see him. And did you notice how Gregor was talking? He sounded just a little bit more off his rocker, right? Not quite Rebels, but you could hear it in his voice. D. Bradley Baker was kind of adding a bit to it,
Mm-hmm.
Because I think what we saw Gregor at the end of season 1, right? They get him out of Tantish, don't they?
We don't know that. We think we see him. I mean, all we see is a clone commando. We don't see who. We always see our clone commandos. And we were hoping that one of them was Gregor.
Okay. I thought they got him out. I thought they got Gregor out. Oh gosh. Like you said, I'm trying to keep all these details straight.
Trust me, I understand.
Wow.
No,
Okay.
they didn't get him out. They did rescue somebody though, didn't they? Who did they rescue?
I think because I think it was Scorch was the one who was there, right?
Yeah, he was chasing him down.
And I thought it was Gregor in a black, like the black onesie that's underneath the trooper armor. I thought it was him. If I'm off my rocker like Gregor, which he is by Rebels, holy mackerel. He is really, of course, that explosion really racked his brain. And so, yeah. But no, it was good to see him. Gregor, Hauser, them rescuing these clones. Seeing what Echo and Rex is doing, to help their clone brothers. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what episode that was in. I know
I didn't know if it was the finale or the one just before the finale.
That's what I was trying to remember.
Yeah, that's where I'd have to scrub back through those episodes.
Because that's where the finale's Camino Lost. That's where they go back to Camino.
Yeah.
So it's got to be Return to Camino, I believe. I'm trying to pull it up here to see if I can recall anything here.
Yeah.
Because I do remember, now that you mentioned, I do remember them saving it, but I didn't think it was, I don't remember them telling us a name or anything of who it was, but I could be wrong. I could definitely be wrong, but I didn't think it was Gregor, but it very well could have been. I don't know. Because that's where it opens up and they're chasing somebody down through the woods. So,
yeah.
Now you got my wheels spinning.
Oh, I know. Well, we probably should wrap this one up and we can maybe come back around to it. Maybe even during the final or something. But we'll do our homework.
We always do.
Yeah. I actually scrubbed back through an episode of the Book of Boba Fett to help me answer a question in our Mando coverage about the armor and living waters. I did go back, and I have that to share when we cover Chapter 19, The Convert.
Very good.
Yes.
Very good, very good. And that's coming up soon. So y'all be listening to that. But let's go ahead and wrap up our discussion of the Bad Batch of tipping points there. I'll go ahead and kick us off with our final reactions if you're ready, David.
I'm ready, buddy.
All right, well, let's get her done. So, like I said, this was a good episode. I really enjoyed it. These last several episodes of the Bad Batch have been really good. They've been really fast. They've been building up. It has been quite enjoyable to see this going on. These episodes have just been fantastic. I love the fact that we're seeing and learning what's happened to this massive clone army post the rise of Empire. So it's refreshing to learn something, but almost heartbreaking at the same time, because these are soldiers who we learned to love during the Clone Wars. So it can get emotional here. I love they brought back Hauser. I love they brought back Gregor. I love they're bringing Tarkin into this. It's great. It makes me wonder how long before Rampart shows back up. Like I said, I don't think he's over. We're done with him yet. So my gut tells me he's. I don't know if my gut's just off, but my gut tells me he's coming back. But we'll see.
Yeah.
But it was a fabulous episode. I enjoyed it. It was really good. I'm just so excited, and I hate the fact, even though it'd be nice to go back to having one episode to review a week. I really hate that we got 1 week of Bad Batch left before we're done again.
Yeah.
Kind of heartbreaking there, but to think that. But good episode. I liked it. David, tell me about your final reactions to Tipping Point.
Yeah, just like I was talking about in my initial reactions, this episode is perfectly titled. We're at that tipping point of, war between the clones and the conscripted troopers. It's so interesting to see Tarkin and Dr. Hemlock trying to keep all this under wraps, but I'm telling you, and you get that feeling everything's about to blow, and it for me, and you mentioned it earlier, it's interesting how the Bad Batch and the Mandalorian season 3, well, and even the previous seasons of the Mandalorian are slowly but surely filling in the gaps. I kind of said to myself, is it too late of a fix? But filling in the gaps in the sequel trilogy, regarding cloning overall and Emperor Palpatine's return and the rise of Skywalker. I look, overall, I'm enjoying the ride, and I have to admit, I'm starting to get nervous. I'm getting worried for Omega in the 2-part season finale. I don't know. I think they're all coming to Mount Tantus, and I'm really nervous about this because Hemlock really wants her. So, oh boy. So, well, get ready, everybody. We'll cover it next week.
Absolutely, we will, and we are looking forward to it. But with that, we got to go into our final grades for Tipping Points. As you know, we grade each episode just like if you were in school getting a grade on a paper. You give you an A, B, C, D, or F. So for this episode, I'm giving it a good A. This was good. I loved it. It was fun. It was enjoyable. It was definitely an A for me. David, how about you?
Same thing. Solid A for me. No question. This really is really a great episode from start to finish, from the, initial sneak attack on this Imperial transport to the end. It just was outstanding episode. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and it really does set the table for next week's 2-part season finale.
Absolutely it does. Now, of course, if you do want to let us know what you think of Tipping Point, feel free to do that. We would love to hear from you. You can hit us up on any of our social media pages. We, of course, are on Facebook and Twitter at SW Reactions Pod, Instagram and Pinterest, and of course you can find all of our show notes on Tumblr at SW Reactions, or email us swreactions@gmail.com. You can do that anytime, anywhere. We'd love to hear from you. David, if somebody wants to talk Star Wars with you, how would they go about doing that?
Absolutely. 2 main places. One is Twitter, and that is at David _Modders, Modders, and the other one is Instagram. Just look up my name, David Modders, and there it is.
Very good. And of course, if you want to talk Star Wars with me, the absolute best place to do that is on Twitter at TAHarris121079. All right. Well, with that, it brings us to the end of the show. And David, I got a welcome back present for you.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm ready.
You're ready? Ready for anything?
I'm ready. Star Wars dad joke of the week.
Yeah, that's right. It's the Star Wars dad joke of the week. All right, here we go. What side of an Ewok has the most hair?
I don't know. What side of an Ewok has the most hair?
The outside.
Oh my God. Oh my. That is
Wah, 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 wah. Oh my gosh, I love it. The outside of an Ewok has the most hair.
That's really straightforward.
Well, David, my friend, it's great having you back. Welcome home, and this has been a blast as always.
Oh man, great to be back, and we're covering everything, man. We're doing it.
Absolutely. And of course, everybody, thank you all so much for listening. Y'all are the best. Y'all the greatest. We appreciate each and every one of y'all. Take it easy. Be nice. Spread some love around to others this week. Brighten somebody's day. Remember, this is your place for elegant discussion for a more civilized age.
If you'd like to share your thoughts, you can email us at show@starwarsreactions.com for our show notes and the latest news from the Star Wars universe. Visit our website at www.starwarsreactions.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at SWReactionsPod or on Facebook at Star Wars Reactions. If you enjoy our show, please leave a review on iTunes. This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or by Lucasfilm Limited. It's intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars. All names, sounds, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and the respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Star Wars Reactions unless otherwise indicated. Star Wars Reactions. Elegant discussion for a more civilized age.